and welcome to Game Day at Rapid Plus TCT 2023. I'm Brandon Ribic, the Technology Director at America Makes, and I'm really happy to be joined by the Deputy Program Manager for America Makes, Adam Hicks. How
Hi.
are you today, sir?
Doing good. Tired.
Yeah, right?
Yeah.
I hear that. It's been a exciting show. Lots to see, lots of folks to get around to and catch up with. Been anything kind of exciting or fun that you've seen this week so far?
Sure. I mean, I've hit, 6 or 7 aisles from the days I've been here. So I've covered less than half, I think, of the floor. Rapid for me is typically a series of meetings that happen at a great venue that is Rapid at a conference that I don't really get to see that much.
Yeah, I agree. I think, some interesting facts that I heard. I heard that there's quite a few in terms of the percentage of new exhibitors this year, which I think is interesting from the innovation standpoint, right? There's new folks coming with new technologies, new solutions. But yeah, I feel like there's more exhibitors than there were previous years. So I think it's still growing, right? So that's goodness.
Yeah, I mean, I think when COVID hit and we had to take off those years, that first year back was a little bit slow, and I think we're starting to get back at it now. So this is more of the Rapid of days of old that I'm used to, back in 2018, 2019. So
yeah,
I'm also interested to see not only who is new here, but what booths growing, what booths are shrinking, how needs, spaces are influencing the size, and I don't know, it's all very interesting. You can just walk around and I'll talk to anybody, and I think get a different feel for where we're at.
I think that's true. Because it's definitely the difference in the size of the booths, but also how many people actually have a physical machine in the booth versus don't, or
that's true too.
Supporting technologies as well, and the ratio there. So speaking about how things are kind of changing over time, and thinking about kind of your role within the defense world, DoD. Are there things that that you see here, or things you think about in terms of the things that we need to be focusing on, or simply we need in terms of like technologies or tools that would help in terms of scaling or industrializing AM?
That is a large and loaded question.
Ooh.
No, it's a good. It's a fine question. We just spent last week at a conference, and there were a lot of really big discussions across the DoD in terms of need spaces. I think that one thing we kept coming back to over and over again: qualification, certification. Right? We need to have ways to short circuit that process to make sure that we have the confidence without needing to CT everything. I think that there was a lot of discussion on the design aspects of additive in terms of bringing forward design of machinability, design of inspectability.
Yep.
Really taking into account, like, let's say we print this thing and let's say it gets on a DoD platform. Somebody's still going to have to inspect it and maintain it and do all the things we normally do. And we need to really think about that, because we don't want to have to take the part off every time it lands and CT it. And so I think inspection methods, better inspection methods, maybe informed inspection methods through process control and sensing technologies. Mm-hmm. I think we're in a relatively good place with a couple of the technologies. There's some interesting ones that are coming up, and I think we need to explore those more too. I think right now within the DoD we have a lot of laser powder bed. We have a lot of directed energy like arc welding or blown powder, mm-hmm. But I think there are a lot of different technologies out there that we need to start looking at, getting out of our comfort zone a little bit, and really pushing those technologies towards something that we need.
Yeah, I like that idea. I mean, I think you bring up some great points in terms of inspection. I have to agree wholeheartedly. In fact, just the other day we were having a conversation, and we had SAE here with us, and they were mentioning how there's new standards available in terms of certification, and that always brings up the discussion about criticality and immediately we're probably back to inspection again, considering that in order to certify, you have to have that probability of detection and understanding what is an anomaly versus a defect. And so I think, points are well made for sure. One other thing that comes to mind, though, to me, and I'm curious to get your thoughts, we've heard a lot, especially not just here at Rapid Plus TCT, but say in the last 6 months or so, data. So at our workshops that we've been having, we've been talking a lot about data management, and often people immediately from there, okay, that's materials data and test methods, which really in my mind kind of lends to predictability. I don't know, what do you kind of think about that? I mean, is it like, well, we just got to get all the data and then everything will be okay, right? But
I mean, so I always view data as support of stability of your process, right? Because what we care about is not the numbers. Let's be frank. I don't care about the numbers. I care that the numbers show me that my process is stable and that I'm confident in my part. So when we say data, what we really want is warm feelings of confidence that our part's not going to fail. And so, yeah, I mean, you have to prove it through data, but the data itself in that context, and the mechanical test specimens, the fatigue, the witness coupons, all of that, that's just a lend an air of confidence, and we do that in all other technologies too, right? We have to show what we can do. I also think that in terms of data, that there's a lot of opportunities to start sharing and collaborating and consolidating the data that we are gathering. And this is not a new push. We've been talking about this for several years. Every time we have a new project with a new material set or with a new technology, we say, okay, well, we're gonna make all these tensile coupons, and we're gonna try to make fatigue coupons if we have the budget to do that. And then where does that data go live? Who uses that data after the fact?
Yep.
Or the next time something comes up, are we just going to recreate that data because it's housed in a shelf someplace, ne'er to be seen again? Or how do we deal with that? Because that's a DoD. I mean, from my perspective, that's a whole of a DoD problem. Where we have the Air Force doing stuff, we have the Navy doing stuff, the Army's doing stuff, and we really need to come together on what we're going to collect, how we're going to repository all of that data together.
Yep.
How we are not going to redo all of the work that we're doing. So there is a lot with the data. And I also think there's a lot of opportunities with that data to do things like analysis and AI/ML, right? Because right now, again, that data typically off of a research project will go on a shelf someplace, and then we do that a bunch of times. So we have, I like to think of just like a file folder with like pages sticking out of it of like random data that we've collected, until a point where we're confident, we're like, okay, the technology works. Now we're going to go collect the real data sets that we need in order to make sure that this is a qualified process. And yes, it's going to be a duplication of a lot of that other stuff that we have already done. But there's a lot of opportunity there to get some analysis on the front end from the data coming off of things, to utilize it, to learn from it, and not just let it live on a shelf someplace.
Yeah, I have to agree. So recently, America Makes published a request for information on what we called sustainable operational qualification. And the motivation there in part was what you just described. Not only that, it's this idea of practicality, but also trying to drive to what are the things that really constitute robust behaviors in a process, not necessarily behaviors that we all deem make us feel comfortable with inserting it into a specific application, but show that the behavior is consistent and that we're monitoring the correct features of the process and the entirety of the workflow. But I think it needs to find some balance, right? To your point, all the data doesn't necessarily solve this equation either, right? It's the right data. Something that Mark Benedict has helped me think about and challenge me is actionable data, right? Data that we can actually utilize to make a decision with when it comes to things like airworthiness or certification. But thinking about the RFI, it's really an exciting time. I think for all of us working at the Institute, in terms of the amount of opportunities that are coming up, because the RFI is not without in its intent, right? It's to help inform us of various perspectives within the community, so that we understand of all the things we could possibly do, what are kind of the heavy hitters. But thinking about the things coming up, I mean, I guess what kind of has you excited for this year, given how busy it looks to be?
I mean, it's really busy. And I feel that, so does Robin, obviously, because there's a lot of work coming through the Institute. It's really exciting. It's I think it's challenging because we have so much of it effectively simultaneously, right? We have the Delta Qual program that was just recently released, right? We have some upcoming opportunities in castings and forgings that'll happen in a little bit. We have some open calls that are going to be around complex 3 tool pathing. We have I think more money is going out in project calls this year than ever before. I'll have to go take a look at the numbers, but we need a lot of work done, and it's good, right? We have people engaged within the DoD and OSD, and they're recognizing that there's a lot of opportunities in additive. They're recognizing the need for what we're proposing. And so they're leveraging the Institute. This is why the Institute was created. We're doing it, right? Which is all great.
Right.
Really busy. lot of money, a lot of balls up in the air, a lot of juggling, a lot of opportunity for members to collaborate, to influence, to really solve the problems that need solving in a lot of different areas. And so I think we're also looking at the biggest breadth of kind of opportunities this year, right? It's not
I agree.
It's not just like we're interested in exploring this material on laser powder bed. No. It's there'll be opportunities for binder jet, for sintering, for DED, for concrete printing maybe. I mean, a lot of technologies can get involved with these calls this year as well.
Yeah. There's definitely a lot more discussions about composites and composite materials and the production of composite structures. But to your point, I mean, different materials, different types of AM modalities, and I think it gives a great opportunity for folks who may be newer to America Makes, as well as those who've been around quite a while, to kind of come together and work on some great things. And so it's an exciting year for America Makes. So, well, Adam, it's always good to talk to you, and thank you so much for joining me here today. And I hope you enjoy the rest of your time at Rapid, and thank you all.
Thank you.